Empire Tales. Julius Caesar, the rise and fall of Rome's greatest general. The world trembled beneath the march of Roman legions. Standards of gold flashed beneath the sun. Armor clashed like thunder, and at the center of it all stood one man. Calm, calculating, unstoppable. His name would echo across centuries. A general without equal. A ruler without mercy. A legend shaped by ambition and destroyed by power. This is the story of Julius Caesar. He was not born an emperor. He was not even born into great power. In the year 100 BC, in a city already ruling much of the known world, a child entered a noble but struggling family. Rome was not yet an empire. It was a republic ruled by laws, tradition, and bitter political rivalry. From the beginning, Caesar grew up surrounded by danger. Rome was a city where alliances shifted like shadows, where ambition was rewarded, and where a single wrong move could mean exile or death. As a young man, Caesar learned quickly, power did not belong to the cautious. It belonged to the bold. He studied rhetoric, politics, and warfare. He learned how men think, how crowds move, how fear controls, and how loyalty is earned. But Rome was already consumed by internal conflict. Rival leaders battled for dominance. Civil war loomed constantly beneath the surface of political order. When a powerful dictator seized control of the republic, Caesar's family connections made him a target. He was ordered to abandon his position, surrender his identity, and submit to authority. He refused. For that defiance, he was forced to flee Rome, hunted, stripped of protection, wandering as a fugitive. Many would have disappeared into history. Caesar returned stronger. He joined the Roman army, and war would become his proving ground. On distant battlefields, he demonstrated fearlessness and brilliance. He moved with precision. He inspired loyalty. Soldiers followed him not because they were ordered to, but because they believed in him. He did not fight like other commanders. He shared the hardships of his men. He marched beside them. He endured hunger, cold, exhaustion. He remembered their names. He rewarded courage. He never demanded what he would not endure himself. Slowly, quietly, a legend began to form. But Rome was not conquered only by swords. Caesar understood something deeper. Victory on the battlefield meant nothing without power in the Senate, without influence in the streets, without the support of the people. He built alliances. He made powerful friends. He formed secret agreements that reshaped Roman politics. Through strategy, charm, and calculated generosity, he rose through the ranks of power. Then came his greatest command, Gaul, a vast land beyond Rome's northern borders, wild, tribal, unconquered, a region many believed impossible to control. Caesar saw opportunity. For nearly a decade, he waged relentless war across forests, rivers, and mountains. He faced fierce tribes, massive armies, and impossible odds. He adapted. He innovated. He struck with speed and precision. His legions built bridges in days, fortified camps overnight, and crushed resistance with terrifying efficiency. Entire regions fell under Roman control. He crossed rivers thought uncrossable. He invaded lands no Roman had ever ruled. He even led expeditions across the sea into distant islands few Romans had ever seen. With every victory, his fame grew. Rome celebrated him as a hero. But success breeds fear, especially among those who cling to power. Back in Rome, senators watched carefully. They saw a general commanding absolute loyalty from hardened soldiers, controlling vast wealth, gaining glory beyond any rival. They saw not a servant of the republic, but a man who might one day rule it. And they were right to fear him. When Caesar's campaign ended, the Senate issued a command. He must return to Rome, alone, without his army. It was not a request. It was a trap. Without his legions, he would be vulnerable to political enemies. His power would vanish. His influence would collapse. He stood at the edge of a shallow river marking the boundary between his command and Rome itself. To cross it with an army was treason. To obey was surrender. For hours, perhaps longer, he considered his fate and the fate of Rome. Then he made his decision. He gave the order. His army crossed. Civil war had begun. Rome descended into chaos. Former allies became enemies. Legions clashed across continents. Cities fell. Loyalties shattered. Caesar moved with terrifying speed. He defeated rival armies one after another. He pursued fleeing enemies across mountains and seas. He showed mercy when it strengthened his position and ruthlessness when resistance remained. Within a few years, the war was over. He stood alone, master of Rome. The republic that had ruled for centuries now answered to one man. He was declared dictator, not for months, not for years, for life. He reshaped Rome entirely. He reformed its calendar, reorganized its government, expanded citizenship, built monuments, redistributed land, stabilized the economy. To many, he was a visionary, a reformer, a savior who brought order after endless chaos. To others, he was something far more dangerous, a king in everything but name. And Rome hated kings. Whispers began, secret meetings, hidden alliances, growing fear that the republic itself would vanish forever. Men who once supported Caesar now believed they must stop him, not out of hatred, but out of what they claimed was duty. They called themselves defenders of liberty. They called themselves protectors of Rome. History would remember them as conspirators. The day arrived, calm, ordinary, unsuspecting. Caesar entered the Senate chamber, surrounded by men he trusted, men he had pardoned, men he believed loyal. Then movement. A blade flashed. Another followed. Steel struck again, and again, and again. Surrounded, overwhelmed, betrayed. He struggled, resisted, searched the faces around him. Friends, allies, protégés, and among them, one he loved like a son. When Caesar saw him raise a dagger, resistance ended. He collapsed beneath a storm of blades. The greatest general in Rome's history died not on a battlefield, but on the Senate floor at the hands of his own countrymen. They believed they had saved the Republic. They believed Rome would return to freedom. They were wrong. His death did not restore peace. It unleashed something far greater. Civil war returned, fiercer than before. Power struggles consumed the Republic. New leaders rose. New armies marched. Within a generation, Rome would become what Caesar had been accused of building all along. An empire ruled by emperors. His assassins could kill the man. They could not kill what he had set in motion. Today, his name remains immortal. A title of power, a symbol of ambition, a warning and a legend. He rose from exile to conquer nations, from general to ruler of Rome, from mortal man to eternal history. Julius Caesar did not simply change Rome. He changed the course of civilization itself. And somewhere, in the echoes of marching legions, in the silence of fallen republics, and in every leader who dares to grasp absolute power, his shadow still remains. The rise and the fall of Rome's greatest general.